Let's start with the first topic, birth of the Weimar Republic. Germany was a powerful empire in the early years of the 20th century. It fought the First World War from 1914 to 18 alongside the Austrian Empire and against the Allies, that is, England, France, and Russia. Germany made initial gains in the war but occupying France and Belgium. The Allies were strengthened by the US entry in 1917. They defeated Germany and the central parts of in November 1918. The defeat of Imperial Germany and the raising of the Emperor gave an opportunity to parliamentary parties to recast German polity. A national assembly met at Weimar and established a democratic constitution with a federal structure. Deputies were elected to the German parliament or Riksdag on the basis of equal and universal votes cast by all adults, including women. After the defeat and the war was over, there was a treaty at Versailles which was called as Treaty of Versailles. Let's see what was it. The peace treaty at Versailles with the Allies was a harsh and humiliating peace. By signing the peace treaty of Versailles, Germany lost its overseas colonies, one-third of its population and 13% of its territories, 75% of its iron, 26% of its coal to France, Poland, Denmark and Lithuania, 6 billion labor, a compensation of war. The war guilt clause held Germany responsible for the war and damages the Allied countries suffered. Rich Rhineland to elites' control. Further, the Allied power demilitarized Germany to weaken its power. Many Germans held the new Weimar Republic responsible for not only the defeat in the war but the disgrace at Versailles, with which many of the people were not happy and satisfied. Wars are always destructive. Let's see what was the effect of First World War. The First World War, both psychologically and financially, affected Europe. Europe became a continent of debtors from creditors. The Weimar Republic carried the burdens of war guilt and national humiliation. It was forced to pay a huge compensation. Socialists, Catholics, Democrats who supported the Weimar Republic were criticized and came to be known as November criminals by the conservative nationalists. After the First World War, soldiers were placed above civilians, and the media glorified their trench life. However, the truth was just to oppose. They lived miserable life in trenches. Aggressive were propaganda, national honor, and support grew for conservative dictatorship. At that time, in Europe, democracy was a young and fragile idea which could not survive. The birth of the Weimar Republic coincided with the revolutionary uprising of the League. The League was based on the pattern of the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. Soviets of workers and sailors were established in many cities. The political atmosphere in Berlin was charged with demands and Soviet style governors. The Weimar Republic crushed the uprising of the Separatist League with the help of the war, an organization called the Free Corps. The separatists later founded the Communist Party of Germany. The two parties of communist and socialist never worked together. After this, thus, they could not control the rise of Hitler. Now, let's see the economic crisis in Germany. Political radicalization was only increased by the economic crisis of 1923. Germany had fought the war largely on loans and had to pay war reparations in gold. This depleted gold reserves at a time when resources were scarce. When Germany refused to pay in 1923, France occupied Germany's industrial area, the Ruhr, which was rich in coal. Thus, this led to the crisis. Now, let's discuss about hyperinflation in Germany. Germany printed paper currency abundantly. It resulted in a sharp fall of the value of the German mark, due to which prices of goods increased. This crisis came to be known as hyperinflation in Germany. At last, the American introduced the Dawn's Plan. It helped Germany to overcome the crisis. This plan reworked the terms of repatriation to ease the financial burden on Germans.